Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into Dead Stars, an absolute masterpiece of Philippine literature by Paz Márquez Benítez. It tackles one of the most haunting questions we can ask about love and memory.
And that's really the question at the heart of this whole story, isn't it? How do you know if the passion you're holding on to is, well, a living flame, or is it just a beautiful memory, an echo of something that's already long gone?
All right, so let's jump right into this. We meet our main character, Alfredo Salazar. He's over 30, and he feels completely stuck in what he himself calls a sorry mess. There's this deep sense of melancholy about him, this nagging feeling that he's somehow missed out on what true love is supposed to feel like.
So you've got his world, right? And it's basically split between two powerful opposing forces, and they're perfectly represented by two women. On one side, you have Esperanza. She's his fiancée of 4 long years. She represents duty, convention, the predictable, trodden road of his life. And then there's Julia Salas. He just met her, and she completely ignites this feeling of mystery and raw desire, symbolized by this alluring house on the hill.
And this is where Alfredo gets completely consumed by doubt. I mean, he's literally asking himself if he's being cheated by life itself. He's wondering if this grand, epic love that people talk about is even real, or if it's just a fantasy. He feels this massive gap between the love he has and the love he imagines could exist. And then, just 6 weeks before the story really kicks off, that spark of imagined love shows up in the form of Julia. And, well, it complicates everything, sending Alfredo down this path of serious emotional turmoil.
Okay, now what's so brilliant here is how this whole conflict is broken down. Alfredo, he's our idealist, right? But he's also prone to what the story calls emotional greed, this hunger for instant passion. He's caught between Esperanza, who is all about reason and her faith in institutions like marriage, and Julia, who represents this incredible vitality, this heart's desire he feels he's been missing. So you see, this isn't just your classic love triangle. No, this goes way deeper. It's a battle between social duty and what your heart desperately wants.
And you can really feel this when he talks to Julia. It's like he has this poetic awakening whenever he's with her. He's contrasting the mystery and allure he feels with her against that predictable, trodden path he's on with Esperanza. He is just completely swept away by the illusion of escape that Julia represents. You know, this is where things start to get messy. His feelings for Julia start to bubble over into actual deception. When Esperanza asks him why he's visiting Julia so often, he tells a half-truth. And in that exact moment, he has this painful realization that he's emotionally cheating on his fiancée, giving a part of himself away that really isn't his to give anymore.
So you can see where this is all heading, right? Alfredo is at a total crossroads, where his own secret desires are about to crash head-on with the massive, unyielding pressures of the world around him.
Okay, to really get why his choice is so difficult, we have to step back and look at the world he was living in. This is the early 20th century Philippines during the American colonial period. And in that society, social pressure was absolutely immense. Reputation, family honor, these weren't just nice ideas, they were everything. The fear of gossip was a real powerful force. Breaking off a 4-year engagement, that wasn't just awkward. It was a potential social catastrophe. And you just hear the desperation in his voice when he finally opens up to Julia. He's not just asking her a question, he's practically begging for someone to understand the impossible weight of the situation he's in.
But of course, the conflict eventually comes to a head with Esperanza. After a fight, she just confronts him point blank, and her tearful, direct challenge totally forces his hand. In that moment of shame and helplessness, Alfredo knows the last word had been said. His choice was basically made for him. All right, let's fast forward and get to the story's powerful, unforgettable conclusion and see how this all builds up to that incredible metaphor. So 8 years go by. 8. Alfredo is married to Esperanza now, and he's living this life of quiet resignation that he calls the calm of capitulation. I mean, what a phrase. It's a total surrender to his circumstances and his duty. He goes looking for her. Maybe hoping for that old magic to come rushing back to see if the dream was ever even real. But when they finally meet, nothing. He feels absolutely nothing. He thinks to himself that something had gone from her. But the real loss, he realizes, is his. The passion he held on to for almost a decade. It's just gone. And it's right there in that moment of absolute emotional silence that he has this profound, just heartbreaking realization. This quote just brilliantly captures the entire story. So what does that mean, that dead star? It's this beautiful, perfect metaphor. The love he thought was still out there, shining just for him, it was just an illusion. The star itself, the actual real passion, it had died out 8 years ago. But its light, the beautiful memory of that passion, just kept traveling through time and space, tricking him into believing it was still there, still shining. But here's the thing. Dead Stars is so much more than just a tragic love story. It's a foundational piece of Philippine literature, and its impact is still felt today.
Its legacy is really threefold. First off, it's considered the first modern Filipino short story written in English, a total game changer. Second, it went beyond just plot. It dug deep into psychological realism, exploring the messy, complicated inner lives of its characters in a way that felt brand new. And finally, by exploring that gap between illusion and reality, it just nails this universal human struggle that resonates with all of us.
And that really leaves us with a question to chew on, doesn't it? It's a question about the ghosts of our pasts, the idealized memories we carry around with us, and that moment when we finally realize we've been looking at the light from a star that burned out a long, long time ago.